All right, let's get right into it. There's this sort of magic number in personal finance, $5,000 a month. And crossing that line, it isn't just about having more money. It's about a deep, fundamental shift in how your brain works, the decisions you make, and really where your life is headed. So today, we're going to unpack what really changes when you hit that first 5K month.
It all starts right here. This is a scene that so many of us know in our bones. You're at the grocery store and your brain is just a frantic calculator. Every single item you put in the cart is one more number in this complicated survival equation, Okay, if groceries are $180, that means gas money's going to be tight, which means I'm probably walking to work on Friday. It's this constant low-level hum of financial anxiety.
But just imagine for a second. One day, you get to the checkout, you tap your card, and you don't hold your breath. You don't immediately check your banking app. You just walk out. So what happens when that constant calculation, that financial static in your head, suddenly goes silent? That's the real question we're digging into.
So, to really understand this shift, let's meet a guy we'll call Marcus. He's a freelance graphic designer, and for years he's been stuck in that classic just getting by cycle. He's pulling in somewhere between $2,800 and $3,400 a month. Yep, he can cover his bills, but there is absolutely nothing left over. He is living on the edge.
So here's Marcus in a client negotiation. But is he really negotiating? Not really. See, one part of his brain is trying to listen to the client, but the other part is just screaming in full-blown panic mode. It's running the numbers. Rent's due in 10 days, car insurance is next week. Can I even survive until we pay this invoice? And because his brain is so busy just trying to survive, he can't strategize. He caves and agrees to a lowball offer.
What Marcus is experiencing is a perfect example of something Harvard researchers call the bandwidth tax. Now, it's not a real tax from the government, but it might as well be. Financial scarcity literally taxes your brain's processing power. Just managing the stress of not having enough money eats up your mental RAM, leaving way less available for everything else, like making smart decisions.
And the cost of this tax is just staggering. The study found that wrestling with a big financial problem had the same cognitive impact as losing an entire night of sleep. It temporarily drops your effective IQ by about 13 points. Think about that. Scarcity doesn't just make you stressed. While you're in it, it literally makes you dumber. But then, it happens. Marcus has a breakthrough. In one amazing month, he lands 3 really solid clients. His income for that month hits $5,100. For the very first time, he's crossed that $5,000 threshold, and right here, this is where the entire story pivots.
Okay, fast forward a few months. Marcus is in another negotiation, but just look at the difference. The panic, it's gone. It's been replaced by clarity. That frantic internal math has been replaced by actually listening to the client. He's not desperate anymore, so he can actually think about strategy. He confidently quotes a higher price, lays out a more realistic timeline, and the client agrees. He got his brain back. Now, psychologically, something really profound is happening here. It's called a mastery experience. See, before that $5,000 month, Marcus hoped he could earn that much. After, he knew he could. And that is a world of difference. His identity starts to shift from someone who is trying to make it to someone who does. That is a total game changer for your self-belief. And the most immediate, tangible benefit? Oh, it's the psychological relief. It is huge. A few months in, his car needs a big repair, $1,100. Before, this would have been a full-blown catastrophe. It would have sent him into a spiral of anxiety. But now, it's just an annoyance, a hassle. He pays it, and he moves on with his life.
And just to put that into perspective, 59% of Americans can't cover a $1,000 unexpected expense with their savings. So by crossing this threshold, Marcus has basically left a reality that most of the country is living in. He's no longer a member of the one emergency away from disaster club.
But, and this is a big but, this is where the story gets a little more complicated. The old problems, they start to fade away, but brand new traps emerge. He starts feeling this nagging imposter syndrome, like, was that just a lucky fluke? And socially, things get a little weird with his old friends who, still bond over being broke.
And his brain starts telling him this very reasonable-sounding story, hey, you've earned this. You deserve to enjoy it. And that little story leads to a whole series of seemingly smart decisions. A slightly nicer apartment, a more reliable car, a few new subscriptions. Each one makes sense on its own, right?
But look what happens when you zoom out over the course of a year. Yeah, his income is up by a lot, but his expenses have crept right up there with it. And his savings? Flat. Zero. Despite making $2,000 more every single month, he is just as financially vulnerable as he was before. This, my friends, is the brutal, sneaky trap of lifestyle inflation.
This is maybe the best analogy for it I've ever heard. You've moved from economy to premium economy on the exact same flight. Sure, you're more comfortable, you've got more legroom, nicer stuff, but your financial destination hasn't changed one bit. You're still on the same plane, headed to the same place, living paycheck to paycheck, just with bigger bills.
Then one day, Marcus has this moment of clarity. He's looking at his bank account, making more money than he ever has in his life, and he realizes he's still feeling that same old anxiety. He gets it. The real change he needs to make isn't about earning more money. It's about changing his entire mindset.
So this slide really shows the two paths you can take from this point. You can treat that $5,000 a month mark as a plateau where you just stay stuck trading your hours for dollars, still operating from that scarcity mindset. Or you can treat it as a launch pad, shifting to an abundance mindset where you start pricing based on the value you provide and you get picky about the work you take on.
So Marcus decides to act. He doesn't just nudge his rates up, he doubles them. He stops trading hours for dollars completely and creates a value-based package. And this is the most important part, he puts a lock on his lifestyle expenses and he starts aggressively saving the difference. Now that is a strategic shift.
And this really brings us to the absolute core idea. Is that $5,000 a month milestone your final destination, or is it the foundation you're going to build on? Because if you treat it like you've arrived, lifestyle inflation is going to eat every single one of your gains. But if you treat it as the starting line, well, that's when everything starts to accelerate. And this right here, this is what real financial freedom actually looks like. It's not about buying a fancy watch. It's about having the financial cushion to say no. No to a bad client. No to a project that's going to drain your soul. No to any work that doesn't line up with your long-term goals. For the first time, you're not making decisions out of pure desperation.
So what's the real takeaway from all this? Hitting this financial mark isn't some magic pill. But what it is the point where survival mode can finally end, and strategic mode can actually begin. You get your brain's bandwidth back. Emergencies stop being life-ruining catastrophes. And for the first time, you can truly start building a future instead of just surviving the present.
Which brings us right back to the central question of this whole explainer. For you, when you think about that $5,000 a month mark, is it the end goal? Is it the finish line where you can finally just relax? Or is it the starting line for something much, much bigger?
Because in the end, what changes after your first $5,000 a month isn't really just about the money. It's about what you're running for. You finally have the stability and the mental clarity to stop running from financial disaster, and you can finally start running towards the life you actually want.